Okay, so this is the third way that we use the cards for signifiers, and the last way is when we use the cards to represent very personal and very specific indications. In the first video, I gave the example of a student of mine in the LRCP program who is a writer, and so you can imagine that when she sees the book turn up, it points to her writings. And she doesn't limit herself to the book in general, but she might also have other cards to represent her specific writing projects. And in fact, she has one that she uses the child to represent because the story is about a child. Now, of course, it's not in every single reading that she reads the book and the child in these ways, but more often than not, she might interpret them in this way because, well, her career is a big part of her life, and also when she is specifically asking about her career. I want to give you a third example in terms of how cards can be used in very personal ways, and this one is out of my life. I use the snake to represent my yoga practice. When I see the snake turn up in specific contexts, or when I'm asking about possibly an open-ended about what's ahead for me in life, because my yoga practice is a big part of my life, I often see the snake as representing my practice. And so this, for example, is a very personal way. But I have to say that maybe this interpretation of the snake can be generalized because the yoga practice is associated with the Kundalini, and the Kundalini is represented by a snake. And the Kundalini is what would be the corresponding to the Western energy of the dragon, and the Kundalini sits at the base of the spine, and when the Kundalini is awakened, it travels up the spine, and as you might know, it travels through the chakras, and this has to do with opening up and enlightening to life and so on. So perhaps this interpretation of the snake can be generalized to the yoga practice in certain contexts.